Hey everybody, welcome back to HitPoint, an anime news show, a niche news show, a JRPG news show, a show where Baku and I talk about anything and everything that catches our interest and or ire. We do stream live every single Sunday at 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. We'll be previewing trailers, talking about rumors. We'll be talking about the super chats that we receive at the end of the show.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's right.
we'll be doing all
Yeah.
kinds of stuff tonight, man. Baku, how have you been? I feel like I just saw you.
Yeah, no, it's like, wow, amazing that we are doing this weekly. Weekly,
I
guys.
know.
We do this show weekly.
Every single week. We don't skip them ever, and it's always on Sundays.
Every Sunday.
Except a little bit of house cleaning right off the bat. You know, so we've all been Sunday bros every Sunday, every single Sunday up till this point.
Yes.
But things are, well, as Bob Dylan would say, they are a changin'.
Yeah, changing.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And here's the thing, Baku's his waifu studies are taking him away from us on Sundays. So
Yes.
and because Baku is irreplaceable, and I mean just outright.
Irreplaceable.
Yeah. There would be a Baku-shaped hole in my heart. If he'd take a cookie cutter and forcibly shove a Baku-shaped just kidding. But
all
anyways,
the boxes to the left. Yes.
we are actually going to be moving our future shows from Sundays. So just a heads up that next week and for the next several during this next semester, we'll be moving our show to Mondays.
Yes.
Otherwise, same time, and we'll still be putting them, same place, and we'll still be on your various podcasting platforms of choice. So,
that's right.
Only difference now is we're going to start including some Monday news in those podcasts, which might actually be nice. I mean, we'll actually have like some slightly, because everything kind of shuts down over the weekend anyway. It might actually improve the timeliness of some of the news we deliver. Oh,
yeah.
Could you imagine?
Imagine us being timely. Just amazing. Timely news. What?
Talking about news that might have actually happened on that Monday. What a novel concept. Anyway.
Yeah, what I would like to see is like a CNN, but like JRPG news. Just 24 hours a day,
24
round the clock.
24-hour JRPG news cycle.
Yeah. We'll invite all kinds of
Uh-huh.
experts to talk about things that don't matter, but just
Sure.
to expand on a story. Like, did you hear what Yoshi P said? Well, we're gonna talk about this for the next 5 hours.
I mean,
Heck
I feel like we kind of already do that a little bit.
Would you guys be into that? 24 hours a day?
What is Tifa wearing in this new coming game of
Oh man, coming up, right?
Oh
Some
my gosh.
style news. Okay, amazing.
Yep. Oh my gosh, is that a tan dress?
Unacceptable. You're gonna gossip.
Yep, just exactly. That's where we're headed. If with your support and continued watching, everybody, we can get there. I believe in us.
Eventually, we'll build a news agency that does nothing but JRPG news.
JRPG and then
24 hours.
Oh man.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and oh wait, we should whoa, wrong buttons.
Whoa,
buttons,
whoa,
all kinds of wrong buttons. So I
no.
meant to do this to say, change our thing. But actually it's time for us to already start talking about the comments that we've received from our last episode of HitPoint.
Yes.
And the person who I wanted to respond to first here, actually, I think I'm kind of curious about your thoughts on this, Baku, because it does involve Ryuga Gotoku. Dusty B says, I was pumped for Infinite Wealth until I read that New Game Plus is locked to paid DLC. Pretty scummy.
What?
Oh man, have you heard about that, Baku?
I certainly had, and you've saved me the time to go through to add that as a news item. Dusty B, thank you so much for that. Yes, I have heard of it. I've heard about it, I should say.
Oh,
And
was that an upcoming discussion topic?
it was, but then I'm like, well, I mean,
Oh, okay.
here we
Well,
are.
yeah,
So,
we'll do it.
yeah, I don't
We'll
need
do
to
it
do it
live.
again later. Yeah. So Infinite Wealth, will not have New Game Plus, as part of the game, unless you purchase a paid DLC. I forgot what it's called. Give me 1 second. It's called the because it's not a news item, so I forgot. Oh,
Oh yeah.
the Master Vacation DLC pack, which comes with the deluxe version. If you bought that, I did not. So depending on what that DLC pack is, I may or may not even get it. Uh, Personally, I don't really care because I never New Game Plus any Yakuza game. I've never ever New Game Plus any Yakuza game. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't think this is gonna be an exception, especially because it's a paid DLC. As to why they're doing this, I have no idea. It's like uh, New Game Plus, quite frankly, to me, New Game Plus is a feature that not enough people even use anyway. Like, I'm
That's
gonna be very honest.
that
Like,
is my first inclination. Like that used to be
yeah.
something I used to do a lot back in
Oh
the
yeah,
day.
back then, when there are way less games, when I replay a game over and over and over again, New Game Plus was great.
Oh yeah. Like
Um,
there did you know?
yeah.
I recently found this out. There's something only like 15 turn-based RPGs on the Super Nintendo. Like that came out in the United States, that is.
Hmm. Yeah.
I should qualify that because I
Yeah.
feel like the look you gave me was just a little what? Okay, yeah, they came out in the US. It was like only 15 or so. Um and like when you were only getting 15 turn-based RPGs in a
Hmm.
console like life cycle, then yeah, New Game Plus was like that was huge, you know? I feel like
Yeah.
that replayability, but now we're getting 15 every 6 months, it feels like.
Yeah.
Uh
See, the meta now
mhm.
is, trying to let you do everything you want within a single playthrough and you move on,
That's
right?
true.
That's
Yeah.
it. And if you did want to come back, it wouldn't be like a new game plus necessarily,
Mhm.
right? But you could just like chapter select or something. Like,
Yeah.
that's like another
There
solution to new game plus is chapter select instead of like new game plus,
there
like
are
like Near
certain
Automata.
games
Yeah.
that I think that the last game that I New Game Plussed was Dark Souls, which has a kind of an interesting New Game Plus mechanic.
Hmm.
And I feel like the way that Dark Souls plays lends itself really well to a New Game Plus sort of
Yeah.
scenario where they just beef up the enemy difficulty and like
Hmm.
it's a lot got to do with like the player's mastery of the
Yeah. Like
action RPG
hell. Was
system
it
and
nightmare mode for like a lot of the Trails and Falcom games, right? Like, oh, you've
yeah.
gone through the game once. How would you like to go through it again? But like nightmare mode,
As long
which
as
I
they don't
which I
lock extra
definitely see value.
content, as long as they
Yeah.
don't lock extra content
Hmm.
behind New Game Plus,
Yeah.
like that, I think really
I
grinds
hate
my
those. Those are
gears.
the worst. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
those are the worst. Like for example, one recent game that I want to give it a really good score, but it's just like little things here and there keeps grinding my gears. And that's Xenoblade Chronicles 3.
Mm-hmm.
There are some after stories which you can only do uh, after you've completed the game, right? So in that sense, it's like a new game plus kind of situation.
Is
It's
it
not new game
considered
plus per se.
is it considered
Yeah.
a canon event? Because I think that's also
Uh,
one of the other things that grinds my
it,
gears
it,
is
it's 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 the same. It's in the same vein. Like,
mm,
you have to. It's locked behind after you completed the game, and you go back and they pretend that the game has not been beaten, and then they give you extra content, and then you're just like, okay, why couldn't you just give me this before? But whatever, right? Whatever.
yeah.
But
So
it's just,
devil's
yeah.
advocate, if I could throw this in there, because I
Mhm.
because I also just thought of this. Chrono
Yeah.
Trigger, this
Hmm.
was I think the game that introduced New Game Plus. I could be
Hmm.
wrong, but I feel like This is like brand
Certainly
new.
one of the first, if
Yeah.
not the first. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And several of the endings are locked behind New Game Plus as well.
Hmm.
But that's
Yeah.
just the endings because of the way that you can choose to do the endings, but not. And
Right.
I don't think that necessarily any of them are considered canon, but you can get like the
Hmm.
developer room endings. Same with Sea of Stars had a similar sort of deal with New Game Plus. Or actually,
Hmm.
it wasn't even New Game Plus. It was just something you could do after beating the game.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not a fan. I think nowadays the games should just let you do everything in one playthrough,
Hmm.
and everything is just there.
So,
Increased difficulty is perfectly fine.
yeah.
I think that's cool. But as far as like content's concerned, like characters and classes and skills and anything that you can like use and utilize in the game, any
Hmm.
game mechanics, should just be in one playthrough. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Now, obviously, I don't want to make it sound like I'm like a new game plus hater. I don't subscribe to it, but I wouldn't be against people playing. Hey, it's your game, it's your time. You do whatever you want. You know,
Hmm.
like I'm not judging the new game plus crowd.
Yeah.
I'm just speaking personally. It's not a thing that bothers me. However, and this is huge, and I want to make it very clear. I do feel like it's a very scummy move, and it doesn't make sense. What I wanted to say in completing my thought is that in my mind, New Game Plus is not even like a thing that people utilize that much anyway.
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
what are you doing? Sega, basically, or RGG, because now you look like really bad. Even though you're making a change that's not affecting a whole lot of people, you've made it so that you locked away a feature that isn't in high demand, but at the same time, it makes you look terrible. Like, what's the pros and cons? Like, what's
There's
your gains and costs, right?
there's
Like, that
definitely
doesn't make sense.
yeah. Like would you rather they just not offer New Game Plus at all? Like
I
that's
would rather they didn't offer it because at least they don't look terrible.
mhm. Yeah.
Like locking functions away that doesn't require a lot of development. Like what? New Game Plus, what's the crazy development cost in doing New Game Plus? Letting
Mhm.
people restart the game and carry like basically like some stuff over is not a huge undertaking.
I
Like you already
think
made the game,
I think
right?
that what I will say is that I agree. I can see kind of their perspective that like if only half of the people who play the game currently I put up a poll when we started this discussion and
Hmm.
it's about 50-50 right now.
Hmm.
45-55, but it's really straddling that line. If only half
Hmm.
the people do ever use it, and you know, if we're only developing this feature for half of our clients, would it
Hmm.
make more sense to use those resources elsewhere, even if it's just something really like I don't know.
Right, but and to your point, but
Mhm.
that's like a do or don't statement, not a
Exactly.
should we lock it behind a DLC like
But
question,
here's the
right?
other thing.
Yeah.
If you do tie it to
Mhm.
a DLC, suddenly you have some income that you can allocate toward that development, right? So like
Mhm.
you can use projected income from that, or not income, that's maybe not the word, but revenue
Mhm.
from that
Revenue, yeah.
to start making more improvements than just, reset the event flags essentially.
Yeah.
It,
And again, I
mhm,
don't think it's a huge undertaking. And if we have any game developers in the chat, feel free to like disagree with what I'm about to say. But just looking at it from like a programming perspective, I don't think resetting flags is like a hard thing. And they already set certain like data
mhm,
class that are related to class stats and yada yada. It's very well organized as they should be. I hope they are, because man, if they weren't organized,
mhm.
I don't know how they developed this program. But
Well,
coming from like a programmer perspective, I bet you everything's already like structured out,
yeah.
and all they have to do is switch a flag that says like keep these numbers, keep these
If
data, and then just reset you back to an early flag.
that
It's
is
not hard.
assuming that is assuming that they're doing New Game Plus the way that we kind of colloquially like assume that it would be done.
Mhm.
And what I'm thinking is it's tough to judge it just yet until we've
Yeah,
gotten
that's
our hands on
true.
it to see if
That's true.
maybe they're doing some additional development for what's behind New Game Plus. And
Yeah.
that could, that could change the value prospect, right?
Right. Well,
It
half and
could.
half, right?
It's hard
Half
to
and
say
half.
until we get it.
Half
Hmm.
and half, because the way that I look at it is there are two things that could happen, right? Either the two separate things. One is New Game Plus at all,
Hmm.
right? And the other are content you can only access with this DLC pass that are new, but you can only do it in New Game Plus.
Yeah.
But that's two separate value proposition,
Yeah.
right? And
Hmm.
what they're saying is we're going to lock both of them away. What I think would make sense is for them to have a DLC that's only accessible after you've beaten the game, which is fine. Like if you just wanted some extra stuff, here new stuff that comes with the DLC pack, but it's only accessible after you finish the game in a new game plus. Perfectly fine. I would hate it, but whatever, right?
So,
But
so
yeah.
I have like this wild idea in my mind, and I don't think that this is necessarily what they're doing, but assume that the first playthrough will be played through entirely from the perspective of the guy from Kasuga. Okay,
Mhm.
suppose New Game Plus is the same story as told from the perspective of uh, the Dragon of Dojima,
Mhm.
Kiryu.
Mhm.
Instead,
Yeah.
and maybe it involves a lot of different scenes, a lot of different development. And maybe
Mhm.
they call that New Game Plus. That's just like a far flung
Yeah.
thing that could be
Yeah.
cool, but
Mhm.
maybe it's not. Um,
Yeah.
but that would be
Yeah.
pretty neat,
I wouldn't traditionally call that like a new game plus, but
right?
because when I think new game plus is literally new game, like
With
starting a
just
new
reset,
game.
with keep your
Yeah,
stats.
but you just keep
Yeah.
keep things,
Uh huh.
not necessarily just stats or stats, but like could be money, it could be equipments, it could be some other things like
Mm-hmm.
in I think in what is it in P5 is you keep the ranks, right, with
Yeah.
your confidant so that you don't have to like do it again, right?
Mm-hmm.
Things like that. Like I would be like new game plus is for. Um but again, I just don't think it's a smart move for them.
Yeah.
Now they're
At least,
getting all this negative press
yeah.
for what?
At the very least, it was poor. Like at so if it was the sort of situation that I described,
Mhm.
then their mistake was naming it New Game Plus for sure.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely. Yeah.
so the other thing though that I will criticize them for
Mhm.
is that even assuming that all this other possibilities that I'm throwing out there were true, they're
Mhm.
still developing this during the active development of Infinite Wealth. So
Mhm. Yeah.
essentially, this is maybe not day one DLC. Is it day one DLC? Anyways, I'm not a fan of day
Yeah,
one DLC.
it's definitely day one because they had planned this DLC with with the deluxe edition,
Yeah.
right?
Okay.
And you could have pre-ordered that early, so it's a perk that
Hmm.
they already knew that they were going to do,
Okay.
which is
So
kind of
yeah.
silly. Yeah.
So yeah. So even stepping back from the initial discussion of like, what's the better thing here is they did choose to do a new game plus,
Hmm.
and they chose to lock it behind a DLC, and
Hmm.
then they chose to develop it during the regular development cycle of the game that they sold, and so they chose to sell you an incomplete version of the game by default. So
In my mind, that's what they did, and
yeah.
that's the part that doesn't give them more benefit because it's like it's like I said, like the DLC, it could be two things. It could be either it's just the this just a new game plus nothing else, which is extremely scummy, or the DLC pack actually includes other like additional content, et cetera. But even then, I'm like, why did you bundle New Game Plus in there? Like
Yeah.
that DLC should stand on its own with the additional content that is purely optional, right?
Yeah.
And I'm fine with that.
It kind
Uh,
of reminds me of Bethesda and what they did with the Fallout games. Well,
mm,
Fallout 3
mhm,
specifically, where at the end of the game, like you just kind of die. I mean, spoilers for a
mhm.
18-year-old game now.
Right.
But basically, you were also capped out at level 20, I think, and then eventually, sometime down the road, they released DLC that allows you to continue beyond the end of Fallout 3, and your level cap gets increased to up to 30.
Hmm.
Um, like that did not feel scummy to me,
Hmm.
but that's also, a little bit different than what I would expect from like New Game Plus.
Yeah.
But maybe they're doing something cool with this too. I hope
Mm,
so, but
mm,
it's hard to criticize it until we see entirely what it entails. So I'm just kind
mm.
of,
Yeah.
I don't know. That's my mild take.
Reserving my full judgment for when I see it.
I
But
feel
for
like,
now,
mhm,
that's where I stand.
yeah, and I'm reserving my full judgment, especially because I feel like up to this point, Yuga Gotoku and Sega have been really good about not nickeling and diming their fans. Like when they
Hmm.
gave me, or not me, but everybody who had the PS4 version of Yakuza 7 an upgrade, a free upgrade to the enhanced PS5 version of the game. Like
Yeah.
that's really cool of them. And that's why
Hmm.
I called them bros in my review of Yakuza 7, because I felt like that was just
Nice gesture, yeah.
a really good gesture, yeah. And it's not something that we've seen from a lot of other developers.
Hmm.
So I I want to give them the benefit of the doubt until we
Hmm.
see what happens.
Well, I've heard that they locked New Game Plus behind DLC in Japan and they just gave it to us for like a dragon, and now they're just doing that like across the board. So I don't know. That's what I heard. I haven't had time to look into that to see if that's a true claim, but if it was, then it's not like they hadn't done it before. So there's your like, precedents that you can examine against. Uh yeah, which again, to your point, like, oh, they've done some stuff that really brought on like the goodwill from the community, and then they
Yeah.
squander it for what?
Yeah.
This really? Like,
Hmm.
this is the hill you want to die on? Like a DLC that it lets people do New Game Plus, which
Yeah.
honestly, again, I really don't think affects that many player, but at the
Yeah.
same time,
But it just,
like it just makes you look terrible. Right?
yeah.
Yeah, because
Hmm.
I'm not affected. I already told you this, but I still feel like that's a scummy move. And
Yeah.
you already gave me like a negative like feeling about your company, right?
Do
Even
you
though I'm not
know?
strictly affected.
Do you know how much the DLC is going to cost?
I don't know. Boy, here's another thing. Like if it's expensive, then that's another reason to get even more angry.
Right?
But then if it's inexpensive, you're like, why? You're
So,
making nothing from this, but you get all this negative press.
but they're
Like,
giving it with day one edition.
why?
They're giving it with day one editions of the
Mhm,
game. Some
mhm,
developers have done like cheap day one DLCs, like $5 here, $5 there, a dollar for
mm,
this, a dollar for that. They've done stuff like that to kind of recoup costs from the secondhand market, right?
mhm.
So if every new game came with a code for this DLC that was then used by the first person who played it, then this would allow them to recoup some costs that were, stolen. Well, not stolen. That's a stupid phrase. That's a rewind. I'll take that back. I'll eat those
Mhm,
words. That was basically that they were not inside of the deal on, essentially. Helps
yeah.
them continue to reap the benefit of putting out a good game that continues to be in demand long after they, might not sell any more new physical copies.
I mean, and that's what like cosmetic DLCs is in part supposed to do for you, right?
Hmm.
Like
Yeah.
it's like you said. But
If this was like a $5
yeah.
DLC, I'm not miffed. If this is like $15, like
If it's like
that
if it's like
seems
a
like,
$5 DLC, I'm less mad, but then I question their sanity.
I know.
Like
Because
five
is that
dollar
really
here or there to buy all this bad press. Like, what's wrong with you?
I know. At that point it's literally just nickeling and diming. Like it's a nickel. Like
Yeah,
it
it's
costs nothing.
uh,
But they're
crazy.
I know. I'm buying like a $20 steak, and then they're like, "Well, there's a $5 charge associated with the butter that we give you. Do you want that extra compound butter? It's 5 cents." Yeah, just give me the dang butter. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyways, um, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want to move on to the next subject here?
Sure.
Okay, this one came from Carlos Rodea, who
Mhm.
said immediately downloaded the Dawn of Dusk demo.
Hey,
Awesome.
nice. All
See,
right.
so Dawn of Dusk, Crystal Tale was the game that it was one of the few new games that were coming out this week, last
Mhm.
week, that we had actually got to talk about, and it immediately caught my attention. And when I saw Carlos said that, I knew I needed to throw that in here, if only to plug the fact that if you saw that trailer last week, I made a review. I got a code from the developer
Mhm.
Breadfrown, and that was a lot of fun to play. And I played through the whole thing, and I put out a review already. So
Mhm.
go check it out if you're curious. I mean, wait until after the podcast today, preferably. Nudge, nudge, wink,
Preferably.
wink.
Yeah.
Actually, played it on quiet in the background, and then go back and watch it again for real.
Yeah.
If
Watch it twice. Do it. And his name was totally Fred Brown. I was right.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. I was
Yep.
like, yes, I knew it.
That's kind of what I assumed as well, but it's good to get that confirmation. It was a really fun game.
Yeah.
I wasn't. I think I was expecting more like Mother Earthboundy vibes from it. I
Mhm.
mean, visually it was, but it was definitely a bit more like Undertale-y vibes from like
Mm.
emotional storytelling, character design
Oh.
standpoint. A
Mhm.
little bit of and the way that like the charging and defending. So like when you are being attacked by an enemy, by a boss specifically. Have you played Undertale before, Baku?
I have not. I've seen people play it.
So you know how like when you are attacked by certain boss fights, like they do this little screen pops up and like you move your little cursor around. It's
Mhm.
kind of like a replacement of that, where it brings up the Game Boy style interface where like
Mhm.
you move your character around to like do a task in order to avoid being attacked like in the turn-based combat.
Mhm.
So it's kind of like that, and it's also like that for like when you're charging up your spells and stuff. It's
Okay.
it's actually really engaging. It's
Oh, wow.
mostly like an action adventure game, like a Zelda game,
Mhm.
but then the bosses are turn based, but then half of the turn based combat is an even more different little action adventure game within like a single room.
Mm.
It's really interesting and unique. So
Mm.
yeah, check out my review
Okay.
and you'll find out more information about it.
I love it. I love it. I especially love the immediately downloaded thing because I think half the reason why I like, streaming different games or talking about these different games is like I want to encourage people to, play these games. I want to show people these games that if they are huge games, like I don't know, like a Dragon or Final Fantasy, I want to like, join the hype train and be excited with the
Oh, I
people
know.
who are in the crowd.
Hmm.
Well, when it comes to like an indie game that no one has ever heard of, it's more like I saw this, it looks really cool, and I hope you can, get behind it too. And then when I see people go like, yeah, immediately downloaded it, and I'm like, sweet, I've done my
Yeah.
job, like so good stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. And I feel like this is one of those games.
Mhm.
And this is one of the reasons that I really like diving into indie titles and reviewing them, despite the fact that they don't uh, as far as like YouTube videos go, they don't draw in the masses. Um,
Yeah.
but that's okay. They're worth it because from the perspective of myself as an enjoyer of RPGs and a reviewer of them, I play a lot of RPGs, and it's the indie spaces that are really like changing the genre and pushing boundaries in new and unexpected ways. And I feel like
Mhm.
this is one of those games that really feels like it's doing something different from every other RPG out there right now. You
Yeah,
know, like
absolutely.
it definitely took inspiration from another trailblazer for sure, but it's also
Mhm.
like not just like emulated it and like stopped there. It's like, okay, this, but then also this. And I like that.
Mm. Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
All
So
right.
next comment we got here came in from Japanimation Man, who said, when I first saw the trailer for Doom 3 way back in the early 2000s, I decided that graphics had come far enough. I think this is in reference to when I was talking about like how much more graphic power do we need. No new improvements would make games any better anymore. And by that, I mean that everything a developer would ever need to visually communicate to the player was now totally possible. Ever since I've resisted the new console generations, I only accepted PlayStation 3 and 360 because they updated things to HD resolutions. I never wanted to upgrade from that generation, and I still have no interest in upgrading past my PlayStation 4. The only thing that will force me to upgrade is when new games just stop coming out for my current systems. And I will heavily consider jumping ship for PC at that point.
Good stuff. PC gaming is definitely the way to go if you can also take on, like, if you can live with the bad things that come with PC gaming, then that's fine.
What do you think are the bad things that come with PC gaming? If you
The fact that it's a PC.
Fair. Okay.
It is not a purpose-built machine. It's built for general usage for many different things. There are a lot of things that can go wrong with a computer. You and I are both well aware of that. You can turn off the PC, turn it back on the next day, change nothing, and it just dies. And you're just like, what happened to you? Which part of you broke? Yeah. So there's a lot of things. There's like no like one place where you can just be like, yeah, let's just send it to you over to wherever. I of all the consoles I've ever had, okay, and I've never owned an Xbox, so don't give me the ring of death thing. All the consoles I've ever had, none of them have ever like severely like break down to the point where I can't use it. I mean, it might glitch, it might crash. But
Yellow Light of Death maybe on PS3.
Yeah. Yeah, it resets and then it's fine, you know.
The more closely they resemble a PC, it's like the less reliable they become. Have you noticed that?
They're more moving gears. There are more ways for it to go wrong. Like again, just like the computer, like a PC process many different things that aren't related to gaming, and any of those screws can be like the thing that like sets it off to like a blue screen, right?
Yeah.
And so, you know, there's just more ways that I can go wrong. I can go on about the negative things that you have to accept about a PC, but so as long as you can accept those things, PC is fantastic. I have a gaming PC. I wouldn't trade that for anything.
So
I also have all my consoles, right?
so
I
I
also
think-
wouldn't trade that for anything.
yeah, I think
Yeah.
that you touched on something really interesting because as soon as you started describing the problems with PC gaming, the first thing that popped in my head was Steam Deck. When you said it's not purpose built, I'm like, Steam Deck is purpose built. It is.
Yeah, it is.
Mostly.
And its competitors.
Mm-hmm.
But the
I feel like its competitors are lacking in a major way, but go ahead.
Oh, but then when you look at a Steam Deck, now you're also missing out on some of the good things about a PC.
Well, it's not a PC anymore. It is
'Cause-
now a console that plays PC games.
Yeah, which is why it's not a perfect comparison, right? It's like, yeah, you get the purpose built part, but now you don't have the upgradability part.
Yeah.
Which makes PC so great is upgradability. You know, the graphics card's not good enough, pop on a new one, right?
Yeah.
You got a great graphics card from over the Christmas, but your CPU is lacking because it's 10 years old. Get a new motherboard, new CPU. Put that graphics card back on, boom, it still works, right?
Yeah.
Like you can incrementally upgrade your system. You can't do that with Steam Deck. So trade-off, you know?
Yeah. So the thing that I alluded to before about what the Steam Deck has over its competitors right now is software. And by the software, I'm not talking about the games that it plays, but rather the Steam OS that is on the deck. That is Linux, super lightweight in comparison to running full fat Windows. A lot less prone to just random, well, I turned it off one day, turned it on the next day, and it's broken. I mean, this version specifically seems to be a lot more robust than than other Windows installations or other even Linux distros, if we're being honest.
Mm-hmm.
And it is, it's built and designed. It's fully what's the call, vertically integrated.
Mm-hmm.
Which the kind of like an iPhone in that sense,
Mm-hmm.
where the software is built specifically for that piece of hardware,
Mm-hmm.
and with the expectations that these are what's going to be in it, and it's designed to work exactly with these pieces of hardware, and because of that, there's a lot less variation, and your expectations for like performance won't change a whole heck of a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of
Yeah.
those things, like navigating on a Steam Deck. From what I've seen, I don't have a Steam Deck, so I can't speak from experience yet. But from what I've
Mm-hmm.
seen, like the way that you can interact with the entire OS through the controller that is built into the deck is
Mm-hmm.
just unparalleled. And you don't have to have these weird like docks that you have to like fumble around with a fake mouse and your touch screen or your right analog stick and stuff. It just seems like a nicer experience.
Yeah,
Which
no, that's definitely.
Mhm.
I mean, at that point, it's like an Android system,
Mhm. Yeah.
right? Like all the things is purpose built for Android, or the coding is, or for Apple, right?
Mhm.
So I feel like it's the same deal.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, and also for folks who are throwing additional things that are not necessarily great about console and PC, like I'm reading some of that, like totally valid. Don't think that this is like an exhausted list of like goods and bad things. Not
No,
really
we're
trying to
we're
go down
detailing
that
everything,
rabbit hole.
Baku. This is actually the
We
podcast from now
detailing
on.
everything. Oh,
Yep.
this is the podcast now.
Yep. This
Okay.
is our life now.
Uh, yeah, totally valid. And noted. Like bad ports is another thing,
Oh God,
and
yeah.
like yeah, bad ports is a lot of things, right? But then it also has good things. Again, trade off. But what I don't want to do is what a lot of like PC like master race would do is just, oh yeah, look at these crappy graphics and technology on your PS4. Oh, how could they call this current gen? Look at my PC. It's just
Mm-hmm.
wow, amazing. And then I'm like, well, what a great way to frame that in a way that does not touch on any of the bad things. Have you talked about cost? Like your current
I
gen
know.
PC, how much did you throw in? Like $2,000, $3,000? How much is a
Mm-hmm.
console? Like $500, $600 is ready to go, right? Like,
Yeah.
and all the peripherals that you
Yeah.
need, right? Your gaming peripherals, how much you pay for that gaming keyboard of yours and that
Mm-hmm.
mouse, right? I don't
Yeah.
know. Like, it's pros and cons, it's trade-offs. What I would encourage for people who are interested in any kind of gaming
Mm-hmm.
is like actually figure out their goods and bads, and then see what you can accept, and then get the one that makes the most sense for your lifestyle.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
It the PCMR discussion on along those lines reminds me a lot of like car dudes, you know,
Oh yeah.
car dudes who are like,
Yeah, the car
I got
guys.
I,
Yeah.
I got this, Subaru WRX, and it, I can
The
drift around.
STI.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh yeah, they all have STIs.
All STIs. My friend, it's funny because my friend just came and visit yesterday, and
Hmm.
he's one of the proud STI owners.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, yeah, we got to talking. But now that you explicitly brought up WRX STI, I'm like, yeah, go on. I
Yeah.
hope that he's listening to this right now. Please,
Yeah.
Derek, trash
Yeah.
him.
Oh yeah, your friend definitely has an STI.
Yeah,
So,
gross.
but
I trash him all the time for his
but
cars,
what
though.
I was getting at, though, is like some car people are like, they're cool, it's a hobby. But then there are the
Yeah.
people who are like, dude, your car can only, like, what are you driving, a Pinto?
Mm.
Why even bother
A Honda
driving?
Civic? Ugh.
I know. Why even bother driving? It's like, well,
Yeah.
because I have to get places, like, one way or another. Like, I I could, look at those people taking public transit. It's like, yeah, gotta
Mhm.
commute, like just because there are,
Right.
better, objectively, like, more fun ways, or slightly like more scenic ways, or
Mhm.
things that get your heart pumping a little bit better, doesn't like mean that like everything else is a waste of time.
Mhm.
Like, it's a very, it's such a weird
It's a
mindset for
weird
people to get
gatekeeping
into. Yeah.
thing. Yeah,
Oh
I
my
just don't
god.
understand it.
And
Yeah.
and it just proliferates everything these days. It's so frustrating. Um
I've recently gotten to a new hobby
mhm,
that which is like custom keyboard building, and now I'm surrounded with like maybe 7 keyboards near me right now.
yeah.
And it's the same thing here. It's like every hobby is the same thing here. I
Mhm.
saw this one post. This one guy was like, I don't understand why people keep buying these budget boards.
I know.
And by
These rubber
budget,
domes, what the heck, people? Why even have fingers if you're gonna type on that?
no, and by budget, they're talking about like maybe like $150 to $200 a keyboard, which
Mhm.
is in any other arena of talking about keyboards is already expensive.
Yeah.
Okay. Look at any other, ways to talk about keyboard. If it's not a mechanical keyboard, if it's not custom mechanical, the only other place that you can get that high of a number is if you look at Topre, which is like the real force keyboards. They're like 250 a pop. You can look at like really vintage keyboards like the IBM whatever. They
Oh
can
yeah.
go for however much, right? But that's like an antique
Mhm.
situation now,
Yeah.
right? But if you just want like a Razer, like top line Razer keyboard, what 260? It's like $200 around that same price range, right? It's already like the best that company will offer you, right? But no, custom mechanical keyboard goes like to like 1,000 plus. Like
Oh
I've
yeah.
seen like $1,500 for like I don't know, like a Jane or something.
Mhm.
And so the person was asking like, oh, I just don't understand why people keep buying these budget board. Like I get getting one, but after that they should really just save their money and get like a real mechanical keyboard, like a really good one, like 700 and above. And that person got flamed
Good.
to oblivion, on Reddit, which is like one of the few times I'm actually proud of the people in the hobby. He
Mhm.
got flamed mercilessly. But yeah, so all you gatekeepers out there, shut up. Let people enjoy the hobby the way that they want to. Okay, relax. We're
So
not all you. Okay.
so let me reel us back because I think we kind of went off course a little bit while talking about
Yes,
the
yes,
the
yes, yes,
comment
yes, yes.
of the day, which the guy was actually talking about how we really don't even need graphics. Basically, they have a PS4. They're
Mm-hmm.
reluctant to upgrade beyond it at this point,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that there is some things that the PS5 can do that I don't even take
Mm-hmm.
advantage of right now that could
Mm-hmm.
be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
HDR content
Mm-hmm.
is when it works, which is hard to get working on a PC with everything. Just throwing that out there. But when it
Mhm,
works, it can offer some really awesome effects.
mhm,
I think that just God, and the ray tracing
mhm,
when that works, like when you have
mhm,
like when I went to visit a friend who had a PS5 and they were
mhm,
playing the new Spider-Man on it with
mhm,
ray tracing on 4K
mhm.
HDR. I'm like, okay, that definitely looks better than my PlayStation 4. like you can
Yeah.
obviously tell, but I think though the point stays that like you don't necessarily need those things in order to tell a compelling story or to
Mhm,
really like make interesting gameplay.
mhm,
At this point the boundaries that they're being pushed with graphics are not really like it's just degrees now of photorealism.
mhm,
It's like they can do a lot with what they
mhm,
have right now. It's just how photorealistic. Like at a certain point, it's gonna. I think gameplay in general is going to. Uh, Games are going to start aiming for a specific style, and
mhm,
and that's what they're going to be aiming for, and not necessarily replicating real life. That's where I would like to see things go.
mhm.
Um, Oh, and also the other reason I brought up the whole like Steam Deck thing earlier is because I ordered one.
Mhm.
Yeah, yep. I finally bit the bullet, and
You did. Wow. Okay.
and I'm getting roasted in my comments where I posted
Yep.
about it
No.
because because
Right
I
now, they're roasting you.
because I got because I got a second hand one,
Mhm.
and I spent $400 on it
You see,
because it came with the
expensive.
dock because it came with
Okay.
the dock, and it
Mhm.
was the 256 gig model and not the
Mhm.
64. buying the cheapest one, the cheapest 64 gig model you can buy from Steam right now is for limited for it's limited in stock is $350 plus tax and plus shipping. So with the dock would have came out to over 470 for me. So I saved $70, got the better model and a dock included. So I'm pretty happy with what I got. But there are some people who are like, should have got the OLED. Why no OLED? I'm like, dude, I'm not Linus from Tech Tips. I ain't got money like. Do I look like
we don't got money
money
just
bags
sitting around, dude. Like things are expensive.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, I'm also mostly buying it just for YouTube and for like everybody else who keeps telling me that I should. I kind of don't anticipate that I mean there's going to be some utility to it that is going to be fantastic as a reviewer and for capturing and such. But also I got this feeling that it's not going to be as revolutionary to me as it is for a lot of people who can game elsewhere, because I do all of my gaming right here and I do it all on live at twitch.tv/SuperDerekRPGs for all of your RPG wishes come true.
So as far as like Japanimation Man's like sentiment, I understand it. I don't agree with it, but I understand it. To the point, to the extent that like I have my PS5, I'm playing on my PS5. I'm playing even a game like, for example, P5 on PS5, 60 frame makes a big difference, right? Even just that makes a difference to me. To my eyes, they made a difference. Some games that are out on PS5 that wouldn't be possible on PS4 looks gorgeous, even with non HDR. Even on my 1440p monitor, like looks better. And I have a 4K TV right here that I bought specifically so that I can take full advantage of my PS5.
Yeah.
I barely use it, right? So it's kind of like I'm half and half. Like it's not big enough of a jump that I'm like exclusively gaming on this TV that I got. It does look better, but the convenience of me sitting in front of my computer and playing on my computer monitor, it's like it's pretty good. It's good enough, right? But I definitely see the diminishing return, like the between PS1 to PS2 to PS3 to PS4, like the jump in
fidelity
is graphics, fidelity that I actually care about is diminishing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's leaps and bounds all the time, but how much of that do I care about? Right? So I'm starting to care less and less. It's not to the point where I wouldn't buy a new console yet. And that's the part where I'm like, personally, I don't agree. But I definitely understand the sentiment.
Yeah.
And there will probably come a point in the near future where I just like don't really care anymore. Like, does it look better? Sure. Do I care? Not really. Like, because now you're asking me to pay more money for marginal gains that I don't really care about. But what's interesting is that, you know, Japanimation Man and myself and you are three people, right? And we have different opinions. What I would like to really see is like the aggregate. How much does the market truly cares? Like all of us combined, us an entire pool of people, how much do we actually care about these incremental gains in graphics fidelity, barring processing power, because some things you can only do on a PS5, like seamless map changing, right? I think what game was it? Like was it Clunkers or something in Clank?
Ratchet and Clank?
Ratchet and Clank. Yeah, they had a new game. Okay. Where the developers talked about, okay, so they like shoot a portal, they go through the portal. It's like a time change thing. They shoot another portal, they come back to
a
like the
completely
original
different zone.
Yeah. And they're saying like they wouldn't be able to do that with previous gen technology because the processor simply cannot load these assets the way that they had put it. So in that sense, and this is now not talking about graphics, but talking about generation of tech. So there's still that consideration that we have to consider.
Yeah.
Which to his point, like here, if you can no longer release game on this console, that's when that technological limit is reached. Now upgrade totally makes sense. But we have to think about like, okay, sometimes not just the graphics with these consoles, it's like also the processing power thereof too. So
Yeah, that's
they're
interesting.
tied. Yeah.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and move along here to the, well, I was going to say to the voicemail, but we didn't get a voicemail again this time, but that's all right. I still believe in you all at home. If you want to leave us a voicemail, we will listen to it. If you send it to us at 785-337-3805, or if you want to avoid, international dialing fees, you could also just send us a voice file to hitpoint@superderekRPGs.com, and we'll respond to it here too. If you want to have a really good chances of us going into a deep dive like we did for these 3 comments. Otherwise, we do respond to the best comments that we see in the previous week's chats. So this was a lot of fun. Enjoyed responding to a lot of these. So
yes,
now it's time for us to talk about some of the new games that got announced, right?
yes. All right, but before we do, I do want to ask one question for all the people who may leave comments, because this is what I'm interested in knowing. Are you a PC gamer? Are you a console gamer? Are you both? Why not? Like, why did you decide that this is like the platform for you? That's what I'm pretty interested in hearing what our community is about. Like, what's the makeup? Are most of you guys console gamers? And most of you guys PC gamers? What are some pain points? Like, let us know, you know?
Yeah, and definitely leave them as comments after the show. I know you can't leave comments right now.
Yes.
And I gotta be honest, they're gonna get lost if you just drop them in the chat. So put them in there down below, and
100% gonna get lost here. I want to be able to read them the next morning when I'm at work and having a sip of my coffee, and I'm reading through the comments and thinking about and really giving like meaningful responses is what we would love to do, which we can't do if you just put it in the comments right now. So,
in the chat,
in the chat,
All
so
right.
just wait until after the show. All right, so new game announcements. This is exciting. Okay, first game that I want to talk about with y'all today comes from D3 Publisher, and it's not an RPG, but it's so interesting to me that I just had to bring it up. Okay, and the game is called. Okay, are you ready?
Yeah.
The title.
Yeah.
It's called. Yeah, you want those games, right? So here you go. Now let's see you clear them. That's the title of the game. So
Man,
let's take a look at the video. Let's take a look at the video.
I wanted to clickbait that title so bad. I was going to put it up like Baku and I are going to talk about those games.
Those games. And yeah, we are going there.
Okay, let's go ahead and let's check out this trailer.
Yeah. Take a look at it, and I'll explain to you what you're looking at. Okay.
Oh, that's a little bit loud. There we go.
Okay, so these are games that you may have seen from like cell phone ads, right? And the thing is about these games is they look interesting, but when you click in them, it's never those games ever. It's some weird like Chinese company probably trying to get you to bait click you into it and then give you something completely different and try to get you to like spend money on their like mobile game trash, right? So it's kind of a scam.
But these
So what a developer did was, okay, there are all these games that these like company keep advertising but you can never actually play. What if we actually program them, put it into a game, and let you actually play them? Well, so here they are. Here are the games. Let's see you clear them.
So this is the one where you like save the guy from lava and like unlock to get to the
yes, it's like that.
So it's all just those games.
It's those games.
That's genius. Like just stealing like the good ideas from all of like these stupid advertisements. Oh my god, I
made them into actual games you can play.
Oh my god, I love this. I love the idea for this. This is so stupid, but I love it. Just
it's only $10, so it's not like it's gonna break your bank if you want to support the idea. And from what I've heard, they're actually pretty fun. So, you know, like
That's hilarious, man. This is a super interesting concept because
yeah,
I am so tired of seeing all of these stupid ads. And they're
yeah,
just like, you know, one only 1 in 17 people can solve this puzzle or
yeah.
whatever,
And it's
and
like
it's like
stupid puzzle, and it makes you want to click in and be like, oh,
I am
whatever. Like
I am one of the 7 in 17. Yeah, no, don't do it.
yeah,
Stop.
yeah. Don't do it. Don't do it. You're gonna regret it as soon as you
Oh
click
my
in.
gosh.
Yeah, never click in. Yeah.
Yep.
But basically take those games and then they're like, okay, well here you go. Here's the game. Why don't you actually play it, right?
Oh my gosh.
So there you
Yeah.
go. The title again is yeah, you want those games in quote those games,
Mm-hmm.
right? Well, here you go. Now let's see you clear them. Uh,
Oh, I
ten
love it.
bucks.
It's such a
This game
perfect
was
title.
right. This game was already available on the Switch and PC last year
Oh,
during our little hiatus, so
yeah.
that's why we didn't cover it. But it is now also being made available for PS4 and PS5. So if you're interested, it's on those consoles,
Dude,
like for
they
like
should
10 bucks.
this is the stupidest thing ever, but they should totally port it to Android.
Oh, jeez.
And you can actually play the cell phone game look-alike on your cell. Like,
Oh my God.
I don't know if that would work or not, but that would be
I,
really
I I
interesting.
worry about the scam company hijacking it if you put it on Android.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
true. That's
but they can
true.
block it pretty well on like the other markets, maybe
Okay.
other than
Well,
Steam. I don't know. We'll see. Yeah.
all right. Well, hey, let's go ahead and talk about an actual JRPG.
Yes.
Well, I mean, some people might take issue with my use of the
Yeah.
phrase, but
Yeah.
um,
Pitchforks right now out
it's
for
not
Derek.
a real JRPG. No, it is.
How dare you?
Developer Sabotage Studios have announced that they will be releasing a DLC for their critically acclaimed RPG, Sea of Stars.
Oh, I'm so excited for
I
this.
know.
Yeah.
I thoroughly enjoyed my time with Sea of Stars, and
Mhm.
we knew that this was going to be coming for a while. We didn't know what it was going to be called.
Mhm.
Information about this is very limited on what the DLC is about at this time, but we do know that it is called the Throes. Throes, the
Mhm.
Throes of the Watchmaker, and it will expand upon the world of Sea of Stars and, quote, provide additional insight on the narrative overarching all of our games. And so that's talking about not just Sea of Stars, but
Mhm.
it takes place in the same like universe
Mhm.
as the Messenger, the
Mhm.
title, the 8-bit style action platformer that they
Mhm.
put out a while ago.
Mhm.
They all share a universe, and so this is kind
Mhm.
of like going to be going over what that is. So I'm curious about the
And
Throes of the
also,
Watchmaker.
to add to that,
Mm-hmm.
they're working on what they call Game 3.
Oh,
So overarching would include that under the umbrella.
gosh, if they made it into an
Hmm.
action RPG instead of a turn-based RPG, that would be pretty sweet
Mhm.
too. I would be down for that. Um,
Yeah.
Now, I will also mention that the Watchmaker is
Mhm.
also a character from Sea of Stars who makes the really cool little inside mini game that has like the little like uh the little characters made of brass that you like send and attack each other with. There's a really fun mini game. I talk about it in my review of Sea of Stars.
Mhm.
So go check it out. If you
Hmm.
haven't already seen that review, it's a very fun review to put together. Spoiler free, by the way.
Yeah.
Those who backed the game, by the way, are planned to receive the DLC for no additional cost.
Yes.
Which,
At least is what they've told us for now. They
yeah.
may change their mind. Don't come at us. We're just the messenger. Get it?
Ah,
Yeah.
you're fired.
All right. Next week, HitPoint will only feature Derek. See myself out of here. Um, I am still waiting for I am 8-bit to finally open the pre-order of Sea of Stars, the physical edition. And I'm
I
getting
know.
really antsy about like the lack of information. Like I think we heard about it a couple months
I
ago, and then just like
know.
silence.
I'm gonna have to go on PlayAsia and snag a copy at this rate. Like if we don't hear something
Yeah,
soon, I want to support the official Western release.
I
Actually, I
do,
don't even know if
but
PlayAsia still has it. Honestly.
yeah, their silence is just, ugh, yeah. So, I can't wait to see I can't wait to see what comes with it. And I'm hoping that the wait is worthwhile because I'm hoping that they would release some kind of limited edition because I kind of want a little bit memorabilia with this game because I know this game is golden already,
Hmm.
right? It's proven itself with the market. So I would like little memorabilia stuff with it. Just for my personal collection.
Yeah,
Um,
some feelies or something
yeah.
would be really
But if it
nice.
doesn't, if it's just like a release, then I could have just gotten like the Southeast Asia release and it would have honestly made no difference. Then
Hmm.
I would be a little irritated that they've taken all this
Have
time
you
for what?
have you played it yet?
I have not because I keep waiting for it.
Oh, you've been. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you
I
haven't
didn't
even.
request for a
I
key
wasn't sure
or
if you were gonna
anything.
double dip or not, but
No, I
okay.
refuse to double dip on games.
Mm.
I say that, but then I've totally triple dipped on like Persona. So, but those are physical copies, and I've sold them. Like I bought a PS5 version, I sold the PS4
Yeah,
version, or like East, I bought a PS4 version, I
you've
still haven't played
upgraded.
it.
Hmm.
So I bought a PS5 version, sold a PS4 version. I can't do that with a digital copy,
Yeah, that
you
makes
know.
sense.
So again, things about digital copies that you can't do.
Yep.
Yeah. But I'm excited. All right. Next up, we've got a bit of a news that I missed again from last month. But we're sharing now. So Acquire announced a new game called C.A.R.D.S RPG, the Misty Battlefield, that will bring together roguelike deck building with
Mm.
tactical RPG.
Oh,
So, uh,
okay.
yeah, this game follows a character named Vel, the commander of the Clausewitz battalion, who will lead her troops into battle against the nation of Fathania.
Yeah,
That
Fathania.
is,
Yeah,
yeah,
something like that.
planning to use the power of their chimera. Oh
Yeah,
God, I'm not pronouncing things correctly today.
that's okay.
Their chimera, uh, to take over the world. Yes. So let's take a look at the gameplay. You get an idea about what this is.
All right.
Yeah. So it's a tactical RPG. You move, and then the battle becomes like deck
Oh,
building situation.
I'm not. I.
Yeah, I know. I knew as soon as you looked at it. I know what you're about to say. But go on.
It's those paper doll
Yep.
looking
There you go.
looking
I knew
graphics,
it. I
man. I
knew it.
can't. I can't
I
do it.
knew it.
I
I
can't.
knew it.
There.
I knew it.
Mm-hmm.
I knew it. When I saw the gameplay, I'm like, yeah, Derek's not gonna like this.
I.
Do I think the concept's interesting? Yes. Do I think the graphics is necessary up your alley? Absolutely not.
Yeah. The concept
Yeah.
seems cool.
Mm-hmm.
But you lost me at like
Favorite paper doll cutout? Yeah.
Yeah.
I hate that too. I hate the paper doll cutout look. Unless it's done as a stylistic choice because it's like an art book situation. We talked about that,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But this is not. So,
No.
I can't excuse it. But anyways, hey, if you guys like deck building, if you like tactical RPG, and you're like, hey, what if I put together these two elements? How would that play like? Well, there you go. This is a game that may scratch your itch, and is releasing sometime this year on PS5, Switch, and PC via Steam. Oddly, leaving PS4 out. I don't know why.
Oh,
It's
it needed that next gen processing performance.
that Switch totally can do that PS4 cannot handle.
Don't be
It's just
jealous.
so odd. It's just so odd. But
It was
anyways,
just
yeah.
easy. It was easiest to port it to Switch because it's already a mobile.
That's exactly it.
Okay. And
Mhm.
I don't want to dog too much on because I know somebody probably worked really hard on this. Uh, Man, I just feel bad sometimes.
Yeah. Like I
'Cause,
said, I'm not a fan of the art, but I think the concept is cool. So
yes.
it's a
So somebody
personal taste thing.
somebody put in some work into this. It just the the art budget, I guess, just must not have been there.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, anyways, moving along to the big headline of the day,
Mm.
which is that Nintendo have announced that Golden Sun and Golden Sun: The Lost Age, two games that I've reviewed relatively recently, by the way,
Hmm.
are coming out on the Nintendo Switch Online as part of the expansion pack tier. And they even kindly put together a little trailer for the two games.
Just a tiny trailer.
Mm-hmm. It's got that 3:2 aspect ratio.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
I actually quite like it.
mm-hmm. Discover
I don't
powerful
think
allies.
it's any like. Did they remaster the graphics in any way?
No.
No. This is just what it looks like.
Nintendo Switch Online is basically just their online emulator.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so like they do that for. Well, I'll talk more about it here in a second, but the games are fantastic, and there's a good reason that a lot of people are really excited about this. I will say that these games have some of the best puzzles of RPGs of this caliber. And they are so visually unique due to the way that they were on the Game Boy Advance, which kind of straddles this line between Super Nintendo and PlayStation 1 style era graphics. Some of the animations here are absolutely wonderful, and the turn-based combat is very unique and fun. So there's a good reason a lot of people are going to be excited about this, and man, the music is so good too. Camelot, man, they cannot be stopped. Except here's the thing. This is my question is, or rather my word of warning, or okay, 2 words of warning. Hype responsibly, folks. Because I know I really want to be hyped about this and be like, Nintendo remembers that the Golden Sun series exists. You know what else? You know what else is on Nintendo Switch Online right now? Breath of Fire 1 and 2. And we haven't heard word nor hair of any, new development in Capcom, despite the fact that it's what, 3 years ago now? Capcom remembered that they have these franchises and that fans love them and that they exist. And yeah, I mean, this might be somewhat different because Camelot, I feel I could be mistaken, but I'm pretty sure that Camelot is kind of like Nintendo's like a second party developer at this point. They only develop games for Nintendo. Nintendo publishes them, kind of like Monolith Soft at this point. They're not Nintendo, but they're kind of Nintendo, right? So in a way, I feel like this could be some ray of hope, maybe. Welcome to the club. Yeah. There's a few rays of hope that we have seen come to Nintendo Switch Online over the last few years. And it's cool that it's there. You don't have to pay extra for them. Play them. They're fun. But don't let yourselves get hurt over this, guys, because I'll tell you, you end up on Nintendo Switch Online when they just aren't that into you.
there are a couple of these games, including Breath of Fire, that are essentially what I'm calling their litmus test games. At least what I'm hope that they are, which is IPs that hasn't seen any new games for many years, but are beloved by fans, and we're kind of hoping that the fact that they are even being ported to a modern console can give them a chance to revive. Like things like Yggdra Union, Yggdra, yeah, Union is like one of those games. Like anything from like what is it, Department Heaven, or
yeah,
I forgot what their thing is called, but it's like things like that where they're kind of dead and gone, but they were some of the really cool games. um or like actually here's another one that was interesting, that I didn't write a thing for, but we can talk really briefly about it.
Sure.
Gravity Rush seems to see some kind of revival. I don't know if you ever seen Gravity Rush before.
That was the Vita title,
um
right?
yes, and then it got ported over to PS4 with like a remaster. They came up with a second
Yeah,
game
it was
on,
critically
yeah,
acclaimed. A lot of people
yeah,
really loved Gravity Rush,
and they
but
never had a third game.
mhm,
And it seems like Sony might be making a movie with this internal studio called Torchlight. For they hinted it. They didn't explicitly say it.
mhm,
I saw the clip that people are claiming is the hint. I didn't. And just by looking at it, it didn't feel like it is Gravity Rush, but I could be wrong.
yeah,
But regardless, it's part of the, like, I'm hoping they will make a sequel for this one day kind of games. So and there are other games like Parasite Eve. Like, could we please get another one of those? But see, like, those games are not being ported, right? But
yeah,
if someone's making a conscious decision in these companies to say, let's make sure that these titles are in a current console,
mhm,
um, it gives me a little bit of hope.
a little
But
bit,
yes, yeah, a
mhm,
little bit. But hype responsibly is true.
yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, that's that's isn't is Earthbound,
Hmm.
is that also on Nintendo Switch Online? I don't think it might not be. I know it was on the
Earthbound.
eShop for the Wii U for a short
Hmm.
while, and so was Earthbound Beginnings, but I don't know if those are
On the
currently
Switch.
on the Nintendo Switch Online
Mm.
service. I
Yeah,
I
no
can't think
idea.
of any better reason to not have hope if those are
Hmm.
on the Nintendo Switch Online service, because I feel like there's not much happening with that IP. I feel like if we were getting remasters that actually took effort, more
Hmm.
effort than like uploading a ROM to a service online, like if it took more than just like uploading like a 32 megabyte file into Nintendo's
Hmm.
services and like writing a couple of blurbs, like if they actually ported it to run natively on Switch,
Hmm.
somehow, like that would be more encouraging to me. Like, um, and I don't know. I would love to be wrong about this though. I really hope that we do see more come from the Golden Sun games. I know that Dark Dawn apparently left things in a bit of a pickle.
Hmm.
Someone once said that. I haven't played it myself, but
Hmm.
I would like to see them see some activity here and be like, oh yeah, maybe people actually do want to play this all of a sudden, and maybe we should consider making another game. But I don't know.
A
We'll have to
sequel to Terranigma? Hmm?
do not do not invoke the name of my savior like that, man. That is uncool.
So, like, there's certain games, like, there's certain games like Earthbound where I feel like a lot of the reason why it's so beloved is because of its quirkiness, but also it's like how philosophically profound it is.
Hmm.
Those are the games that I have less hope of them making a new one, because it's one of those things that's harder to replicate. Like, quirky is quirky for one game, but the second, third game not so quirky anymore, right?
Yeah.
And the things that are philosophically profound, once the creator had said their piece, maybe they just don't have anything else to say.
Hmm. I mean,
So you
Mother
can't
3, for
force
instance,
things. Yeah.
like was thematically, like it was way different from Mother 2, in my opinion.
Hmm. Yeah.
It was very much like anti-consumerist kind of discussions. It was really interesting.
Hmm. Yeah.
You might consider a lot of what it had to say kind of painted Western culture and things in kind of a negative light.
Mm-hmm.
You know, did some. It was very critical in a lot of ways that I think I discussed more in a video about reasons why Mother 3 will never come out in the United States. I
Oh,
might
I
have
remember that. I
I might have
remember
been
that.
stretching on some of them, on some of my reasons, but I do feel like, oh man, it would piss so many people off. Um, if, but then again, like it's also one of those sort of things like if those children could read, they would be very
Hmm.
upset. You know, it's like
Hmm. That's right.
the people it would probably upset aren't likely the kinds of people to be playing, you know, Mother
Mhm.
3 in the first place. Um,
Yeah.
but you know, so, anyways, yeah,
Yeah,
Nintendo Switch
but
Online. It's cool. It's a sign of life, but it's
mhm.
not a particularly good one.
Mm. We'll wait. We'll wait to see if if Nintendo will grace us with another Golden Sun, providing that the numbers are good with
Yeah,
this expansion
yeah.
pack
Knock on
here,
wood.
right?
Knock on
Yeah,
wood.
knock on wood. All right. Well, let's talk about a game that does not depend on Nintendo. Developer Unknown X and publisher Alliance Arts announced a new Touhou project game called Marisa of Liartop Mountain, a new RPG where you play a series protagonist, Reimu, who will explore a mountain of books in search of her missing friend, Marisa. Let's take a look at this trailer.
Alrighty.
This is the anti Nintendo game because it is on Steam. It is a Dojin game, and it's like everything that's not Nintendo.
Nintendo wants to DMCA this because it's so everything they don't stand for, but they have no standing.
Yeah, no, this is like the most like un Nintendo thing. Yeah, Touhou Project. For anyone who does not know, it's like a series of uh Danmaku game, which is like a shooting game with like bullet hell games, right?
Yeah.
Um, and this kind of have a little bit of a like what is it called? Paper cutout ish. But I like literally paper cutout. Like the enemies are literally
It's
just cut out
part of
of
the
a
style.
page.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's part of the style, and I'm like okay with it. Yeah, but it's a turn-based RPG, as you can see.
I can kind of
And
dig that though, because it's
yeah,
not all cut out, and they're not just like wiggling and waggling the paper around to make it look like it's animated.
it's like a paper robot, right? It's like doing the roboto, but paper, like
Yep.
2D. Yeah.
Exactly.
So yeah. So again, for anyone who does not know, Touhou Project, the series creator basically made a rule that said you can use any of my assets to make things. There are certain limitations, but you can make whatever and sell whatever. I don't care, right? And it's made it extremely popular in the Dojin scene, which is like basically think about like an artist alley, but like you make things, you draw manga, you make all kinds of derivative work. Games are especially popular with these characters and these lores, and you can freely use them
Yeah.
however you want with some limitation. I think one of his limitations is he does not want to see like lewd art of his characters. Like I think that was like one of his big thing.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, like go nuts, write your own story, use the and don't claim this to be like an official thing when it's not like another one of his rules. But they're like very sensible rules.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now he could have charged people royalty for
Mm-hmm.
using his stuff. He does not. It's completely free. You can go out and use his art assets and characters and designs and just make your thing and monetize it however you want. And he would be like, yeah, go for it.
That's pretty sick.
So yeah, and that's why Touhou is so beloved, and that's why you guys keep seeing like these Touhou games that I bring up,
Mm-hmm.
and they're from different developers, and you're just like, what is this Touhou thing? So maybe I should explain that a little bit to like folks who are new to the show. So that's what Touhou is about. But the series protagonist, Reimu, is kind of like the main character that's across all the Touhou games. So she's kind of like the de facto main character. That's
Mm-hmm.
why we say that. But this is a turn-based RPG take on their lore. So pretty cool stuff.
And I dig
For anyone
that.
who
That's really cool.
yeah, for anyone who likes deep lore, Touhou has deep lores for you, but they're like nonsensical deep lore. They're not serious. They're pretty whimsical. Even though the world keeps getting destroyed, it's kind of funny how that works out for them. Anyways, if you like that game, again, it's called Marisa of the Liartop Mountain. It is releasing sometime this year. We'll keep you guys updated on PC only via Steam.
All right.
Yes.
Next up is one of the games that I talked about a little bit during our last episode as something that I was actually really looking forward to maybe coming out this year. And we got some additional details from Bandai Namco, who gave us the release date for Sandland.
Sandland.
And a new trailer.
Ooh.
We'll take a look at the trailer, but as a refresher, Sandland is based on an original manga that was created by the legendary Akira Toriyama, and it follows the fiend prince Beelzebub in his search for the legendary spring hidden in the desert.
Yes.
So let's check out Sandland.
Sandland. So I was just talking to someone on Discord today.
Shh.
And
I want to watch this. Shh.
Was the commander of the Royal Army.
I will turn you down, Baku.
You will watch it again. You will watch this again anyway. Whatever.
I know, but I want to see this.
There's actually English
Exactly.
narration.
I'm pretty sure that means it's coming out in the US for sure.
Oh no, it's totally coming out in the US.
I know.
Are you guys looking for the legendary
She's a
spring?
new original character for the game.
This is a
Oh, okay.
national
Her name is
emergency.
It's getting
the mechanic.
dangerous
Yeah.
and fun.
And she's original.
Look at that artwork, man.
The sheer
Mhm.
scale of it
Hey, that
makes it
doesn't look
feel
like a
less
desert.
than nothing in comparison.
That must be the spring.
Yes, that must be the spring.
They found it. Spoilers.
Ooh.
Man. Look at that. All right, so it looks ooh. Now that's what I call pod racing. Oh man.
It's a little over the top. I like it.
It's cool.
Yeah.
That's so
Nice.
cool. Okay.
Nice.
That light.
I'm not much of a vehicle person, but
Stand back,
I feel like
I'll take him out myself.
That sail.
I feel like this is a little bit.
To the secrets he was keeping from his own army. One of the nasty relics.
This looks like my spirit animal.
Foolish war.
I seriously don't understand human.
Oh my. Oh.
Ooh.
All right. What were you trying to say though? You were talking to somebody in your Discord server about something.
Yeah, I was talking to someone on Discord, and they're like, I only saw the trailer twice, and I have no idea why I like this thing so much.
Oh,
And I'm like, I don't really know why I like this so much either.
I'll tell
because,
you why.
Okay, sure. Why do you think it is?
It looks vibrant and fun. It looks wacky and off the wall. It looks
Mhm.
a little bit edgy, but it's not just like super serious melodrama. You
Yeah.
know when you go into this, you're gonna be playing something that's just like, I don't know, some kid had, a sugar rush and described a wild
Mhm.
dream that they had. And also, by the way, they're the protagonist.
Yeah, no, that's pretty much exactly on point. Like just a motley crew going on their journey, and it's just something that I really need in my life.
Yeah.
That isn't like, oh, look, Sephiroth is coming again,
Uh-huh.
or like, oh, there's the international war, and we're gonna have to fight against 10 different nations for world peace. Like,
Yeah.
no,
It's
I
like,
just
you know
want to go on
what?
a fun adventure, right?
Exactly. I play
Yeah.
RPGs for escapism sometimes. All this doomerism in my games is a little
I
bit of a harsh.
Yeah, I by the way, for those who don't know, I solved international crisis for a day job. Okay, so I wanted
Via his,
I want to get
his
away.
degree in
Yeah.
waifu studies. Exactly.
Exactly. No, but like that kind of like it's fun. It looks fun.
Yeah.
A lot of games that are coming out, they don't look fun. They look
Mhm.
like it's some kind of drama, which it's
And those are
fine
great.
when the mood calls
Yeah,
for it.
Those are
Yeah,
great
but-
sometimes for sure.
God, it's lacking this fun element. But this looks fun. It screams fun without being obnoxious, you know? So and I feel like the game trailer so far has backed that claim up, you know. It's like high octane, over the top action,
Yeah.
in that sort of like 90-ish, maybe even 80
Oh yeah.
ish art style.
It's taken me back. Like I think there's something about Akira Toriyama
Mhm.
himself and his illustrations that immediately like just take me back to a simpler time.
Yeah.
And it's not just another Dragon Ball thing,
Mhm.
you know, and that makes me happy, but it does look like another shonen kind of thing.
Mhm.
You know, and a new shonen from Akira Toriyama, a manga. And is it also going
Mhm.
to have an anime tie-in? I mean, it already has a manga, but
It's a mixed media project, but I don't
yeah,
know if there's an anime tie-in.
yeah.
Uh, yeah.
I'm very ready to just get swept up in something a little different for a while,
Yeah.
and this seems like a good excuse. So this is going to be
If
coming out.
If Trigger animates this, I think it would be perfect. I mean, it's Bandai
Ooh,
Namco, so it's probably going to be, you know, Bandai
no,
gonna
maybe.
do it
Hmm.
in house. But boy, if Trigger, because Trigger is like known for this like over the top kind of like anime, like Gurren Lagann, or what's that
Ooh,
one
uh,
other?
Kill a
I
Kill.
forgot what. Kill a Kill. This is one other one that's like a film only one. Um, but anyways, yeah, and boy, like if they get to work it with Toriyama and animates this, I would watch the heck out of it. Um,
Yeah.
anyways, oh, I think they did. What's that one game from? What's that one game from? The people who made The Witchers. The Cyberpunk. I think triggered the Cyberpunk.
Oh.
Yeah, the
Um.
anime for Cyberpunk.
Let me see. So Studio Trigger. They also
Mhm.
did Little Witch Academia. Uh, BNA, the brand new animal.
DNA was good.
Let's see.
Studio Trigger just makes some good stuff, man.
Yeah. I. Oh man.
Did they not do? Yeah, they did Cyberpunk. Yeah, Cyberpunk Edge Runners. Edge
Okay.
Runners.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
They
That's
also
cool.
did Promare. Promare is the film one that I was thinking about. Yeah. There you go. They do some really cool over the top stuff, and they do it with style. Um
That's sick. Well,
yeah.
guys, this is coming out on January, February, March, April 26th. I barely ever think of April. April
Mhm.
26th. And it's coming to PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, the Xbox stuff, and then PC also.
Yeah. All the Xbox stuff.
So,
Yes.
yay.
Yay. All right, the last game on the docket. We're finally at the end of the list. Now, this was a game that I wasn't sure if I wanted to bring up, but then after I looked at the trailer again, I'm like, yeah, sure, why not? So, this is coming from developer City Connection. Announced a new RPG title called WiZmans World Retry.
Hmm.
Weird name.
I wonder if it's supposed to be Wise Man's, but
Wise Man, Wizman, it could be Wise Man's World. That's, you know
sure.
what? We'll
I feel like,
go Wise Man's.
yeah,
Yeah,
because
Wise
I hate
Man's.
the idea of a whiz man having an entire world.
Well, is
I
Wizman's. That kind of throws me off too. It's just like, wait a
instead it's
minute,
not it's
that's
not
not the plural of wait.
is it an apostrophe s? Is it a world that belongs to Wismet wise men? Okay, anyways.
Well, see, the main character is a wizard. That's why I'm just like,
Oh, so
okay,
he's
I
the
don't.
whiz man.
Mm.
Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I see. I don't know. It's throwing me off like
I-
crazy. But whatever.
yeah.
As a Japanese developer, I'm gonna excuse their English. Now, this is actually a remaster of a 2009 Nintendo DS RPG called Wise Man's World by Jellico. Now, Jellico, for anyone who's been around long enough, you might have
Oh
heard of
man.
it, and then you're just like, what happened to them? Jellicoe actually filed for bankruptcy back in like 2013, 2014
It really
timeframe.
upset me at the time. They made one of
Yeah.
my favorite beat 'em ups for my series of beat 'em ups back on the Super Nintendo.
What was it?
Oh yeah, they made Rival Turf Brawl Brothers, and there was a third one that I never played as a kid. The Enforcers. Yeah, so it's the
okay.
trilogy. I think is called The Enforcers, and
Mhm.
it was a lot. This is a really good beat 'em up series. If you know, I mean,
Well,
go ahead.
if that's the case, you're probably going to want to pay attention to City Connection moving forward, because City Connection purchased Jellicoe's IPs like around that time
Yeah.
when they filed for bankruptcy. So City Connection actually holds those IPs now.
Mm-hmm.
And 10 years later, they're making good use of those investments and launching this remaster. So let's take a look to see what they've done.
All right.
Yeah.
If I pull this up though, and it's some whiz man, I don't know.
伝説のメーカージャレコが最後に送り出した RPG ワイズマンズワールドが14年の時を経て蘇る。もう一度崩壊と魔法の JRPG へ。ワイズマンズワールドリトライ。
Okay, WiZmans World, he said.
A WiZmans World. Okay, so you were right. Graphic. Dude, the
Oh.
graphics look way better. Like the portraits. They actually read that the
Yes.
portrait looks really good.
Yeah.
And it was originally a DS game, so they tried to turn a DS game into just a 16:9.
Oh,
We've
but it
talked about the
works.
challenge that's involved, so I want to see how they execute it.
I don't know who
music.
that is, but they look cool.
They redid all the music.
Uh-huh. Oh, I was right, he is cool.
Yeah, guitar and violin.
They both are. That's sick.
Yeah. Story.
Story.
ダンジョンに囲まれた街ウィザレス。
Dude.
So like the people around the dungeon all lost their memories. So for once the main character didn't lose all their memories. It's the
Oh.
townsfolk who lost their memory.
I kind of like it. Turn things on his head. Sure, I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, is this coming to the US? Do you know?
Okay, well, I'll get to that after we
Okay,
go
okay.
through this. Yeah.
彼の名はクラウス。彼もまた自身の記憶を失っていた。魔女ジゼルによって育てられた
It looks
クラウスは
see like if they were doing this
崩壊となり
with
ダンジョン探索を許可され
with Golden Sun,
彼は
I would be
三人の
hyped,
妖精
right?
のような彼の
Mm.
少女
Oh yeah.
because this is
That
so
would
much
be
higher
cool.
effort. Like this, they've definitely put like effort into doing this.
Yeah. It's not just like here you go.
Yeah,
you know.
this isn't just a ROM on a
Yeah. They
website.
redid all the music. They redid some of the artwork. They, upscale the like game graphics quite a bit. I think they made it smoother. Like they've done some stuff. They've changed the UIs completely.
It looks great.
Yeah. And they said that they also optimized the gameplay to be less tedious. So they
Who
it's,
is this? Who is
City
City
Connection.
Connection?
Mm.
Have they been around? I mean, since they bought
Oh,
Jellicoe's
City Connection's
IP.
been around.
They have.
City Connection's been around. Yeah. They never. Well, okay. I can get into that like afterwards. But
Okay, sure.
yeah. Let's,
I mean, I don't want to interrupt the announcer, but I
Oh,
can't
no, I
understand
don't-
him anyway.
yeah. No. Yeah. It's just like so the three. I think the three characters that you can control are like the
God, that
three
looks
like
sick.
homunculi. So
Uh-huh.
like basically you can absorb like monsters and then upgrade the homunculi,
Yeah.
and which is like the three fairies,
Mhm.
and then they can like join you in battle basically. Like those are your party members,
Yeah.
but they don't fight in their physical form. They fight in like a form that has been empowered by you absorbing like enemy souls. So it's pretty cool. It's kind of like a Mega Man kind of deal, you know?
Yeah.
I
This
think
is-
it's pretty awesome. Yeah.
I'm gonna have to update my list of games I'm stoked for, but I guess I can.
So you see, I saw this and I'm like, do I want to talk about this? Okay. So
Yes,
let's talk
yes, we
about your
do.
two questions, right?
Yeah.
The two questions are, is this coming to the US, and who the heck is City Connection, right? So
Yeah.
first answer, it is coming to the US and the West and just international. The reason why I wasn't sure if I wanted to include this was because for a while I wasn't sure if this was a Japan only release.
Yeah.
Because they've only been really concrete about Japan only release, which is coming out in May, by the way, in Japan. But from all the news that I've gathered, they do plan on having this out internationally sometime later in the latter part of 2024.
Yeah.
And they have an English page in Steam, which is a good sign that they
Yeah.
do intend on releasing this in the West.
Okay.
Otherwise, they wouldn't go through the trouble of translating it into English and having it on the Steam page, right? They'll
Mhm.
just be like, whatever, it's just Japanese, deal with it, right?
Right.
Which other games that I've seen that don't have the intention of being released internationally, they don't include. Now, again, they haven't I haven't find the announcement that has them say, yes, we're going to the West, which is the thing that holds me back.
Yeah.
But I do think that they will. So here
So
we are. Yeah.
to quote the Magic 8 Ball, signs
Mhm.
point to yes.
Signs points to yes. Now, as a second question, second answer, the answer to your second question, who the heck is City Connection? I think they've been around since like even the 80s. Like
Really?
they've been around, yes. And I think they focus on like rhythm games.
Really?
I think that's what they said. They're like a little known company that has just kind of been around and just like hung in there. And I
Okay.
don't, yeah. So platform.
Here, this is interesting.
1985.
Let me throw this out there.
Yeah.
City Connection is a
Mhm.
1985 Jalico arcade game.
No, this is the game. We're talking about
I
the
know,
company. Yeah.
I know. But there
Mhm.
is a Jalico arcade game called City Connection, and
oh,
that's why,
geez. Yeah.
and that's why it sounded super familiar. So I wonder, I wonder,
Mhm.
like, is this like kind of a sister company to Jalico?
Okay, I found it. Okay, so I was wrong. They weren't around in the 80s. I must have misread that somewhere. But they have been around since 2005, which not a short time.
Yeah.
It's been almost 20 years, but they deal with retro games, remasters, and such. So they have done things like a bunch of things that we've not heard of. Psycho Shooting Stars Alpha,
Never heard of it.
Penguin Wars,
Mhm.
Akai Katana,
Oh, that one. Yeah, I know that one.
Avenging Spirit on the Switch. So not a huge studio, but
Yeah.
they have. It's not like they just came up
It's-
like 2 years ago.
And it
you know?
seems like
Yeah.
they've got some particular interest specifically in Jellico. I mean, why else name yourself after a Jellico arcade cabinet, right?
Maybe.
I'm extremely intrigued here.
Mhm.
I wonder if it's like, oh, I want to do some digging. I feel like there's a good story here about some founder of Jellico who was maybe, broke off into their own thing and then created City Connection Company, and then Jellico
You
went
know
under and then they
what?
bought it. I feel like there's some sort of like thing going on here. Because who else would buy Jellico's IPs? I mean,
that's a good
Harsh.
question.
harsh,
Oh.
but
Mhm.
I mean, it's they make good games, and this looks particularly cool. Okay,
Yeah.
so
I'm looking at their lineup, and it's like a bunch of games that like you know no one would care about. No one here would necessarily care about.
Yeah.
Not to discredit them as a developer. But yeah, so interesting stuff, right?
yeah, extremely
That
interesting.
that game actually looks really good. So I'm just like, this game looks really good. I do want to talk about it, even if I didn't get like confirmation of a Western release. I still wanted to talk about
I'm
it.
glad you did. It was
Yeah.
great for you to bring that up.
Yeah, but I
Wow.
will, I'll look into this because I mean I see there. Oh, that's why I had a misunderstanding because I read I read the City Connection wiki in Japanese, and then I thought it was about the company, but it's not.
Oh,
It's about the game. Yeah.
okay. That explains some of the weirdness, but that is wild. Okay, so sometime in 2024, coming to PlayStation, Switch, everything.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yeah.
pretty dang cool. All right.
Yep, I found it. It was formed in 2005. This company.
Angelica went under in
Yes.
2013, so like 8 years later.
So if anyone wants to read it, this is what I'm reading. So in the summer of 2013, all of their license were inherited.
Inherited.
I mean, that's what the word says. Is
Mhm.
inherited.
Mhm.
Now it could be legally inherited in a legal sense, as in like they had purchased it, right?
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
Calidus Games. Okay. 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 Yeah, I'll read through this later. I read the wrong thing earlier,
Oh, don't worry
so
about it.
that's why. Yeah, but now that I found the actual page, I'll read it later. But yeah, if you'd like, that Enforcer series, I don't know, maybe keep an eye on this company because I think they're
Maybe
starting to
I
make
will.
moves.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, maybe I will, because I mean, Brawl Brothers and Rival Turf, they had some pretty stupid covers on their NES, Super Nintendo cartridges, but the games were a lot of fun and got a lot of nostalgia there for me.
Yeah. Well, I am actually interested in this game because it actually looks pretty good.
Yeah, it does.
And the gameplay looks intriguing.
Mhm.
So we'll see how that goes. And that concludes all the new game announcements that we have to cover for you today.
And that's pretty much everything too, except for one last bit. We did get a super chat from Still Alive.
Oh my God, he's still alive.
Yep. Yeah. he's leaving comments and he's still alive.
Still alive.
So, and they said, so I'm really enjoying Baldur's Gate 3 currently, and was wondering if Baku knew if the game is a hit at all with the Japanese market, and if possible, if there might be an inspiration for maybe future RPGs. Now that's an interesting question. That's a very interesting question.
No?
I don't know. Has it been even ported to Japanese? Because that's not an insignificant task for a game as huge as this. But I mean, I guess
vaguely remember a couple of YouTubers playing it. The problem is I don't know if they were international VTubers. Yeah, no, I think they're they're English VTubers
okay.
and Indonesian.
Mm-hmm.
So international, but
Yeah,
I
so
don't
English is probably
think-
strong in there.
right, and they were playing it in the English platform. Yeah, so like Cali, Zeta, Beeview. Yeah, they're all EN and Indonesians. So, and they play co-op. I don't think it caught on in Japan, for one reason or another. Either it is not their kind of game, or
Looks
it is
like
because there's no Japanese translation. I don't know.
there was a localized version of Baldur's Gate 3 that was released on PlayStation 5 in Japan on December 21st. So,
So it's fairly recent.
yeah,
Okay.
it's only had about a month, little less than a month to really catch on there so far.
Especially towards the end of the year, they're like extremely busy with like over in Japan, like because of the New Year countdown, like, and then the first like week or two are just basically vacations, and they're all traveling and visiting families. Like Thanksgiving for them. For us, it's Thanksgiving in the States, but for them, it's like New Year is that sort of like family spending time and
So this
not
is
working.
actually not a very good time for a game to release in
Yeah,
Japan.
not
then.
at all. And they may very well pick it up, maybe in a month or two,
Might have to
but
be a slow burn.
it may very well be. And I think the other thing, and I think the problem is that I'm looking at a lot of like the corpo, what they call
Oh.
like the corpo VTubers, which
Mhm.
they have certain guidelines of what they can and cannot play. So maybe I'll look at
Oh,
some
yeah.
indies and some indie like streamers and see if it got picked up. From my understanding, no, because I have not heard any buzz from that side of the world on Baldur's Gate. So to answer your question, not 100% certain, but I doubt it because if there was a buzz, I would have heard it, even if it's not very loud.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's too bad.
Yeah.
I mean, it definitely Baldur's Gate differs in a lot of ways from what I understand of it, from a
Mhm.
lot of what a lot of Japanese people tend to value in their RPGs. But that doesn't mean that it won't. It just seems like it might not be the big hit that we would come to expect. Similar to how maybe Japanese RPGs aren't the nearly as big a hit in the West as they are over in Japanese markets.
Yeah, we're a strange niche group of people who are coming together, getting hype about JRPGs. Like, I
Yeah.
hope we understand that. Like, this is the echo chamber of JRPG. Like,
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
JRPG is super cool. It's like, yeah, it's not that mainstream.
We could be a bigger crowd though, and I
Mhm.
appreciate all you being here and
Thank you
supporting
so
the
much.
show and just making our lives more fun to hang out and yeah, bringing us all together. It's you guys at the end of the day who we do the show for. So
I
yeah,
just mean this to say that we're the chosen ones.
we
We're
are the chosen ones.
we're JRPG elitists.
Well, I wouldn't call us elitists.
Yeah,
No.
no. Yeah, Boulder Gate is out in. No, it's definitely out in
JRPG
Japanese.
MR.
Got it. I'm looking
That's
at
us.
it. It's interesting because it's got a 0 rating of Z. I don't know what that means. I don't think I've ever seen
Oh,
that.
like
Is it just like mature?
maybe it's not rated or
Mm, No, it
Mhm.
has to be rated if
Oh.
it's released in Japan.
It's
Or
0
over
for
18. Okay, so
Oh,
it's probably, yes, it's mature rating.
okay.
So that will stop some of them from streaming.
It's
I'm
rated
sure.
O for old people. All right.
Yeah.
Well, guys, it's been fun, but I think that we'll go ahead and wrap up the show here tonight. But if you liked what you're seeing today, make sure you get subscribed here or followed on whatever podcasting platform of choice you may be enjoying us on. And we will catch you up on Monday. Not this Monday, not tomorrow.
Mhm. Not tomorrow. No.
Next Monday, we'll see you all
Yes.
then. And I hope you all have a good, happy, and healthy week. And I'll see you guys next time. Have a good night, everybody.
Good night.
There's the button.
Bat, 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 bat.